Website evaluation, teaching our students to be critical evaluators of online information. Even though the comic is funny and makes light of finding information online, I do believe it sums up the attitude of our students towards evaluating online information. They don't truly think about what they're getting off the internet. So why is this important? What do our students need to know when looking at and evaluating online information? How do we teach students the skills they need to be those critical evaluators? And what sources are available to teachers to help teach this skill? I feel it's important because it's a needed part of online research. Students need this ability to critically evaluate information. Oftentimes, students are more concerned with the content rather than the credibility of the site. And many do not pay attention to site features like author information or the author's viewpoint. And many use the first site that pops up as their first and only source. So what do students really need to know? We need to remind them that there's a lot of information out there, that anyone can create a website, and it's our job to be critical of the information and the website. And there are lots of steps in the evaluation process. One of the most basic steps is teaching the 5 W's, the who, what, where, when, and why. I found this video. It's a teacher teaching a 6th to 8th grade class about evaluating websites. We'll take a look.
I'm Emily Cook. I teach at Westside Collaborative in New York City, and I teach 6th and 8th grade. Is media something you can always trust? Is all this media that you're looking at and reading, is it always true? Is it always real? Today's lesson is all about going into a website and figuring out if this is something that you can use for research, if this is something you can get facts from, or if this is a website that is not as trustworthy. I want you to go once again to a clean sheet in your notebooks, and I want you now to title this sheet Media Vocab. This lesson will be consistent with the Common Core with the critical thinking. And they're being asked to use their evaluation skills, use their analysis skills, and to really go in and read a piece and look at a piece of media and a piece of writing and evaluate its worth. I have 3 words. The first word is evaluate. We're going to start just with defining some basic terms.
Evaluate kind of means like what you think about something.
It's like what you think about something. So
Evaluate, like it has the word value inside.
yes, that's exactly right. It's to figure out the value of something. I want to see if you can figure out what trustworthy means now.
Trustworthy means like you have that trust with somebody,
This idea of trust, okay?
and like they're worthy to keep the secret.
They're worthy of your trust. Last word, I don't know. Let's give it a shot. If you don't know it, that's okay. The word is biased. What do you think biased means? Yeah, Kayla?
It's like you're sure of yourself.
It is very much like sure of yourself. It's like it's like a very one-sided opinion. It's just that's the opinion that matters. It's that one-sided opinion. So you guys have a task. So many schools are switching over to having school all year round.
I'm not coming.
Even in the summer.
I'm not coming. It's crazy. So no break or anything.
Take a look up here. So here's your task. You need to go online and you need to find information for Miss Rotunda, and you need to persuade her of your opinion on this matter. I can only guess what it is. Their task is going to be to go in and ask themselves, if I need to convince my principal that I don't want year-round school and I need to use facts, is this the website for me? Is this an accurate and trustworthy website? You're going to actually go through the website And you're going to fill out this chart. They have to have the understanding of what makes an appropriate research site, because now we ask them to do it, they're going to be asked to do research in high school and so on. You're going to be doing this in partners. And what I did was I emailed you the link to the site. Kayla, you can use one. I assigned this site to you specifically because I see you use about.com a lot. Is it free of advertising? So do you see ads all over this site?
No. Sites that are mean and angry may not be good sources of information. Pretty common, don't you think? It's important to learn because sometimes when you research things, they can't always be true. So, like, you have to understand which website to use and which website not to use.
That's like facts, numbers, information. It is time. I'm really curious. There are some really interesting sites. So let's hear how you did.
Well, from this article, I found out there's both sides of the story.
Would you say this is a site that you could go to get quality information? You think it's a trustworthy site?
Yes.
Great. So it gives some facts, some opinions. It gives both sides. Beautiful.
Many ads that kind of confuse you and make you go off topic. And it doesn't really give really good information and facts why you should have been around school.
Kind of hard to fully tell what's even going on here, okay? I think that's absolutely fantastic. So we ask you all the time to go online and do research. So what did you learn? What kind of things do you know you need to look for to figure out if a site is trustworthy to get research from?
Whether they have both sides to the story.
Do they have both sides? Do they have the facts?
It doesn't have pop-up ads or anything like that gets you confused of what they're trying to say.
The pop-up ads, it's not trying to like sell something to you. Okay, do you guys think it's important to do this? To evaluate, to use the common sense lessons, to have those moments of aha, I think are incredibly valuable, and then to weave those into the everyday lesson. And I think it brings things out in them, conclusions they wouldn't otherwise come to.
While this is a language arts classroom, I feel that any classroom could use this kind of lesson. So take a moment, write down what you noticed and how you might be able to use this in your classroom. I have another video that also is helpful in teaching students how to evaluate online information.
Finding accurate and useful information on the web can be frustrating. With so many websites, it's difficult to know what is trustworthy and factual. To solve this problem, you need to think like an editor. Let me explain. Back before the web, books, newspapers, and journals were the main sources of information, and like today, they were usually trustworthy. This is partly because these resources are expensive to produce. Publishers need special equipment and staff, and a way to ensure that they only print trustworthy information. If they print bad information, the business could fail. This is the job of the editor, who acts as a gatekeeper. Editors ensure that everything that's printed meets the organization's standards. Today, things have changed. Almost anyone with a computer and internet connection can be a publisher. No printing press or editor required. For most websites, there is no gatekeeper. This means that you, as a reader, now have to think like an editor and take an active role in deciding what websites you can trust. Here are some things to consider. Editors and journalists often depend on existing facts and information in their work. When an article states something as a fact, like the annual rate of inflation in 1980 was 13.58%, that information can be sourced from the U.S. government, and that source matters. If an article names high-quality sources of facts along with the article, it's a good sign. And reputation is important to editors. They consider the reputation of the publisher and author, when the information was published, and more. As a reader, ask yourself, do you recognize the website or author? Are they a known authority? Is the information current? These answers matter and can help you find the best information. When a news event happens, editors look for eyewitness accounts. If two people witness the same thing, it can often be considered a fact. The same is true for websites. If you can find the same information on multiple trustworthy websites, there's a better chance it's accurate. Editors also work toward fairness in covering controversial subjects like politics. A single subject can be viewed from multiple perspectives, and they work hard to understand all sides before publishing. Smart readers do the same with websites, where conflicting opinions are common and often productive. Consider the author's goals and biases. Ask yourself, are they selling something? Is he or she representing an organization or group? Answering these kinds of questions are all part of being your own gatekeeper for the information you read. And once you start thinking like an editor, you'll be better able to make your own projects the best they can be.
Just another great video and resource to use to help teach our students how to evaluate that online information. Again, take a moment, reflect on the video. How could you use this in your classroom? Here's a small list of resources that could help you create lessons on website evaluation. Google has an online sleuth lesson. It comes in several parts. It might be good to start your kids out with something like this. Kathy Shokrak's Guide to Everything. Her website goes through lots of different evaluations, different checklists. Here's her site. And it might be just something to go and look at and maybe help build a lesson. The Edtopia article just talks again about the importance of teaching our students how to evaluate that online information. From the University of Maryland, they have a checklist that students could go through and evaluate. Could be done in a lesson form. And I'll end with a cartoon. Again, just sums up how our students view online information.